All right, what's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, you. Wow, so we've come so far and we're about to go a little bit further. I'm quite excited, anyways, to really have you be here and be a part of this podcast, semi podcast that we are running towards your becoming, really. And stay with me. We're on a journey. Yesterday, we started, or last time, in the last episode, we talked about friendships and the importance of the kind of friendships that we have towards who we are on a journey to becoming. And so today, moving forward, we are going to talk about boundaries. What's the line? What line should we not cross? Because the truth is that one of the reasons why our friendships feel like there's off balance or somebody is taking advantage of you is because we don't have boundaries. All right, boundaries are helpful to help you clearly state what you're looking for. That's defining that friendship from your end, and it also helps others to know how best to treat you, because we have to learn to teach others how to treat us. We can't just accept how others are treating us. We have to be willing to correct impressions about ourselves and get them to see us the way that we desire to be seen, not the way that they want to see us, right? So we begin to take these things into consideration. Boundaries helps keep our relationships balanced and healthy. It helps our friends know what is okay to do or to say or what's not okay. Good boundaries are clear, they are consistent, they respect the feelings of both people. So, boundaries is not to the advantage of just one person, boundaries is for both people. And so, it's very important that you talk about these things, talk about them when you have conflict. Take time when tempers are low to discuss these things, because sometimes when people overstep boundaries, they hurt us, they cause us to walk away from them and all of that. And there are certain friendships that we shouldn't have lost, but we never put boundaries into them, we never defined them. So the first thing in boundaries is define your friendship. Define your friendship. Define your friendship. And different boundaries are that you can have are acceptable or unacceptable things to say or to talk about. Phone or texting boundaries, for instance, when you want to communicate. For example, I make it very clear to men, I don't chat with you after 10 p.m. If you're a man, I don't chat with you unless it's an emergency and you are somebody that I am an oversight to, then you have access to me 24 hours. But otherwise, if you are a male mentee, if you're a male friend, we have nothing to talk about after 10 p.m. How often you want to communicate. I'm very clear to men, especially defining my relationships with them. If it's somebody that I am not so close to, but I can see that they like me, I would define and streamline those friendships so that there are no misunderstandings of whether I like them or not. Then there's sexual boundaries, and this is especially important for us female. You have to be very careful. Not everybody gets to hug you, gets to touch you, or touch your cheek, touch your hair, rub your hair. You have to be very careful, because some of these things are sexual triggers. Some of these things can be seen as green lights, especially for the opposite sex. So boundaries about if, when, or how it is okay to touch somebody. um if a man touches your butt, for example, and you're just sitting there looking at him, you're smiling at him, oh, I don't want to say something before he's not offended. Tomorrow he's going to come and touch your boobs, sister. Oh yes, he will touch your boobs, and he will not be scared to touch your boobs. Why won't he be scared? Because he touched your butt and you did not say anything. So the moment that hand is going low, you're like, uncle, no, that's not allowed. That's not permitted. We don't have that kind of friendship. And you shouldn't have that kind of friendship with anybody that is not your husband, anyways, even if it's your fiance. You need to be able to have those sexual boundaries to know what's okay and what's not okay. Physical space boundaries. I'm a hugger, but as a leader, I have learned to ask people, is it okay if I hug you, especially strangers, people I don't know personally? It's okay. How close is it to stand to you? You know, if I want to prophesy to somebody, sometimes in a meeting, especially where I'm invited to, I say things like, "Can I talk to you?" Because the person may have physical space issues and they're like, "Boundaries, girl, don't come close," and all of that. Emotional boundaries. How vulnerable do you want to be with people? Why do you want to be that vulnerable, or why don't you want to be that vulnerable? Then there's material boundaries. I know of some people that go to people's houses and just take their clothes and wear them. That's not nice. However, my mother and I do not have boundaries, so maybe the top I'm wearing belongs to my mother. I said maybe, not so I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but maybe it belongs to my mother. So what items belongs to who? What items should be shared? What items should not be shared? I know of married couples that share a toothbrush. I don't know why, but they do share a toothbrush, maybe because they're having sex. I don't know. But I know of some married couples that share a toothbrush. So, but if you're like me, that is a neat freak, I won't share my brush with you, yo. Mm-mm. I don't care how much I love you, but I ain't sharing my brush with you. I'm not sharing my bras or panties with you, except maybe they're oversized and I've never worn them before. But if I've worn them before, I can't give them to you. Those are material boundaries for me. There are time boundaries as well. You can't keep me on the phone for 2 hours talking to you. I don't care who you are. You can't keep me on the phone talking to you for 2 hours, because, girl, my time is my money. And if you're going to keep me on phone for 2 hours talking to you, you got to pay me for it. Hmm. You have to pay me for it. So it's very, very important to be clear on these boundaries. Be clear about these boundaries. Know what's okay, know what's not okay, know what's permitted, know what's not permitted, and all of that. You also need favors that you can do, favors you can be asked to do. So if somebody tells me, for example, Rejoice, help me go and pick up a gun, ain't nobody gonna do that for you. I'm not. I love you, but go get your gun yourself, so that when they arrest you, you explain what the gun is for. Because I can come and start explaining, well, my friend asked me to get it, and then my friend that sent me would delete the chat from WhatsApp. So, nope, I'm not doing that. But that's just an example. The point is this: know the boundaries of what you should do or what you should not do. All right. Um, what next? What are the boundaries? Privacy boundaries. What to share, what not to share. There are some people that do nothing about me. For instance, I could be getting married tomorrow, and some people may never know except I post the pictures, right? But then there are some people that would be involved in my wedding planning. There are some people that know when I started dating, or when I choose to start dating. There are some people that would know, right? So there are privacy boundaries, how much I choose to share or disclose per time with somebody. Then there's intellectual boundaries. You know, you have your right to have a different opinion than me. You have the right not to believe everything I say. But if you want to disagree, disagree respectfully. Don't tell me with all due respect, because any statement that starts with all due respect is an insult waiting to be unleashed. And baby girl, I ain't letting nobody insult me respectfully. So no, don't start your statement with all due respect. Just actually recheck and rephrase that statement, because with all due respect was the insult that started. And so workplace boundaries as well. How much work can you do? The moment you start taking work over closing time and you're doing it for free, your boss is going to think you're a cheap steak, and they're going to keep doing it until you learn your lesson. So girlfriend, you if you aren't going to sustain it, please don't do it. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So real quick, yo, it's already 10 minutes, and boundaries conversation is long, but we're not going to stay that long. We're still going to try to keep it within 16 to 17 minutes like we always have been. But let's talk boundaries. What are some tips to maintain boundaries? Understand and define the relationship. And that's number one. Define that relationship. Girl, if it's an acquaintance, don't call them a friend. If it's your bestie, don't call them your friend. If it's your work Work friend. Yes, they are work friends. We're only friends at work. Don't invite them to your birthday party. They are your work friends. Leave them at work, right? If they are your spouse, obviously you can't leave them at work. And please, all this work husband, work wife, no, don't do it, girl. That's disaster and cheating on its way to happen. Cause, girl, anyways, define the relationship. Number two, understand your relationship patterns. Many times, because of how we were born, we react differently to relationships. So you need to understand your relationship patterns. Gotta ask yourself questions like, oh, when is it hardest for me to say no? When is it hardest for me to stand up for myself or ask for what I need? And then you have to also ask yourself, how hard old is this pattern of the behavior? Why did I develop it? How is it holding me back? And then finally, you really got to know, what are you afraid of that will happen if you stop this pattern? Because truthfully, some things we're scared of happening, you actually need to permit it to happen. Like, if I perish, I perish, yo. I got this. I'm not letting you stop me, hit me in the face, and all that. Anyways, but you get what I mean, right? So, number three, check whether you need to set more boundaries, and where you don't even have boundaries at all, how to get some boundaries in there, because girl, it is rough out there. And if you let them, they're going to walk all over you. They're going to demean, belittle, mismanage, rough you up, and all the other things in between. And your girl Rejoice Azuka is here to make sure that does not happen. So healthy relationships are places where you are open to express your thoughts and feelings even when you disagree, where you're not scared to disagree. For example, if you have a boo who you cannot disagree with, girl, check that boo, because it may be a boo tank, it may be a trouble heading to somewhere. So you got to be able to say, I don't know if I quite agree with that, without being scared of, what do you mean you don't agree? Nah, that ain't it. And then address conflicts and problems in your relationship openly and respectfully. But don't start with all due respect, because man, that's insulting. And then spend some time apart from one another, have other relationships. Let them not be your only friend, because when you are dependent on people, um if you are dependent on people, then there is trouble. There is trouble. There is trouble. So learn to spend some time apart, like have other friends, have other people you meet with, you hang out with, and all that. And then find little compromises. Do not compromise on your values, but you can compromise on things like, okay, well, I have people that are in my life that we don't agree about everything, but we're still close, we're still friends. So those topics that we don't agree on, we just agree to disagree. We don't punch each other, we don't fight each other, we don't do anything for each other. All right. All right. Did you hear me? Let's move on, girl. Let's move on. Let's move on. And then set hard limits, like what is acceptable. This friendship is over if this happens. Dr. Paul Anenche once told a story, very funny story, but very good story, an educational story. He said he told his babe back then, that is now his wife, he said, the day we have sex, girl, this relationship is over. Some of y'all need to do that, because then it will help the sexual tension that you have with your man. Oh, yes, the day we have sex, babe, we're done. No matter how good the sex is, we can enjoy it, but we are done. You need to have that conversation. All right. So, what next do you need to do to help boundaries maintain personal space? Because, girl, don't invade my personal space. 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 Let me do me. Do you, girl. Let me do me. Do you. Maintain personal space. We don't have to do everything together. We're not co-joined twins. Do your thing. Let me do my thing. Have some time apart. Have other friends. Have other interests. We don't have to like everything together and all of that. Number four, express your feelings, wants, and needs, and um do them respectfully. Open line of communication. So you let your statements be helpful when you want to address an issue, a problem with a friend. So you attack the issue, not the person. Don't say that you are a difficult person, but you can say that in your stance in this and with your reaction, it appears that you are very strong on your stance. Is there a reason why you won't budge to this? You see, you're addressing the situation, not the person, because the person is opinionated about the issue. Don't come and say, yo, you're a difficult person. Why are you a difficult person? Why can't you just be easy? Nah. No, 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 no. And then say what you mean and mean what you say. Don't try to run around in circles. For example, if your boo, because some of y'all have boos, did something, you can say something like, I was a bit sad and disappointed that you did not come out last week to hang out with me. Um, I was sad last week when you did not come out with me. Can we hang out this weekend? That's a better way than saying you left me. You abandoned me. No, my dear, they did not abandon you. They just did not come out with you last week. So mean what you say and say what you mean, right? Don't try to escalate and over exaggerate situations, because they just tend to make matters much worse. You can say something like, oh, I was a little upset that you didn't show up, but is there another time we can fix? Because I miss my friend. That's saying what you mean. Don't say that you're forgetting me, whereas you spoke 2 days ago. Moreover, phone works both ways, my dear. If you have an issue with it, go and do something about it. Don't just sit down and tell them how that they abandoned you. Oh my God, it is time up and I did not even finish. Woo! Okay, let's do a part two to this because I kind of am enjoying this conversation on boundaries. Let's do a part two to it and talk about a little more boundaries. See y'all tomorrow. Love you, girls. Bye.